here is that for years and years and years we've known about global warming, and we've known it's a huge problem that's going to affect all our lives, and in particular areas like this that depend upon our winter weather, and it has become clear to many of us in leadership positions that personal action is really about the only way we're going to make any progress on this. And it's time to do something. Let's do something. And out of that came, out of 7 Generation and also the Green Mountain Coffee Roasters, is a real commitment to actually get some people together and do something. And that was sort of the birth of the Mad River Valley Carbon Shredders.
Mentioned that unfortunately Yasna Brown, who is one of the 3 of us, so it's really only the 2 of us now, couldn't make it today. But we're sort of speaking for her and Green Mountain Coffee Roasters.
And because the valley is the valley, and it's the way that it always has been, I think Gregor and Yasna's thinking, and then when they brought me into it, was that this would be a perfect place to roll this strategy out, to see how we could get people energized about this. We could teach them about the subject, put them on a carbon diet, that they have a good time doing it, and then with the hopes of spinning off more and more of these similar groups, both in the valley here and nationally and hopefully internationally at some. And the good thing about global warming is through little behavioral changes and little actions and a little expenditure, you can make a big difference. I mean, for instance, if you were to take a single fluorescent light bulb and switch it out from an incandescent bulb, you're talking about saving 500 pounds of coal. So if we had a stack of coal that was about this high over here, that's what each one of those compact fluorescent bulbs saves in terms of what we need to burn for our energy needs.
So I met up with a guy probably, 8-9 months ago, named David Gershon, and I don't know how this is going to go on camera, but he wrote a book called The Low Carbon Diet. And we've been using this as a guide. Now basically it's a how-to book. It's got a lot of what Bob just said from the standpoint of a host of ideas of what you can actually do day by day, moment by moment, to actually think through what your impact is on, on your everyday carbon, your everyday carbon footprint. It's called the carbon reducing parties. You get people together, you get people to do their carbon footprint, you get people to actually say, well, okay, so what can I do for the next week? How can I change? How can my family change? How do I begin to see, my everyday behavior as being things that I can actually do to actually reduce? Basically, within, I think it's about 6 months, you can reduce your impact 25%, because that's just the low-hanging fruit.
And one of the other important things about this is it's fun. And I think one of the things that all of us in the valley here are really committed to is community. Both of us live in the valley. Our families are here.
Also, Yasna lives in the valley too.
Yasna also lives in the valley, and we were going to mention her a lot today. And we're all concerned with community. What's been nice about this is that we had these about 3 months worth of meetings, and we sat down and we shared all this stuff, and we went all the way through the book. And then as we get towards the end of this process, it's like, well, how do we snowball this, and how do we make it bigger, and how do we get everybody else involved in things for us to do? And the good news there was that out of that whole thing came these resolutions, because the people in the groups got so excited about this, and it's sort of like, how in a very public way can we get people engaged in this, and how can we do it in a manner that's not threatening, and that's where the first resolution came up, which is basically a non-binding resolution that basically says that we should do this 10% reduction by 2010. The good news there is when you look at Department of Energy statistics, they say through conservation alone that we can lower our energy use by about 50%. So when you start thinking about, well, 3% per year, we've got 3 full years to do this. I mean, 3% is not that much. And then the next year 3%, and the next year 3%. And through simple activities that are fun, and that you can reconnect with people in the very things that we do, and it's very traditional for people in the valley, I think is a wonderful thing. The second article is basically taking it a little bit further and saying that everybody in the valley start recording what's going on. And then requesting that towns, within the limits of their budgetation and our budgetation.
That was a great word.
Starting to sound like the president. Within their budgetary constraints, go after these things. And of course, the good news there is that with each success, they're going to save themselves a little bit of money here and there, and we're going to be there helping them do that and providing advice.
Yasna would also say that it's carbonshredders.org. And it's a wonderful. Teresa Langston put the website together, so I want to give a little pitch for that. A plug for that. Is it a pitch or a plug? I don't want to plug.
It could be either.
Okay. And the other part of this thing is that we've been working.
No, I think it is ICF.
ICF.
Yeah.
And they've put together an amazing tracker. Now, the idea of the tracker is that it's an online tracker which allows you to go in, put the data that you've got for your everyday work. When your lighting, your transportation, a whole host of different ways in which you can, and it's very easy to do, by the way. And you come up with an actual point at which you understand what your beginning benchmark is, carbon footprint-wise. And then over time, you can begin to, using the tracker, see how you're reducing by, again, just putting data into the tracker. So the tracker's on the website. But the beauty of David's book is that and this is the low carbon diet, how you can actually take 5,000 pounds off your carbon diet in 30 days. The importance of it is that he's got 4 sessions that you can do. And you can more or less, you've got a script that you can work with. You invite your friends over. It's like this Tupperware thing that people used to do. And you invite your friends over, and you do this. Really, you dialogue and you talk about what you're doing, and it becomes an interesting support group, so that you're not just going off and doing this in the wide open. And so by the 4th session, you've got a pretty good idea of what to do, and you've probably found ways pretty quickly on how to do it. And then each one of the different people who you found go out and start their own group. So in the computer world, what this is called going viral. And so a lot of what we're going to be doing with this program is finding more and more ways to create buzz to go viral.
Analogy further, it's really easy to infect people with this. One of the things that I've always been amazed with this is when I lay it out to somebody that it's grabbed and taken. A good example of that is at the Valley Reporter. We wanted to get a news story in the Valley Reporter about this. The Valley Reporter staff took this book, went on their own carbon diet, and that was a series of 4 stories in the Valley Reporter, which generated dozens and dozens of letters to the editor about,
Okay, so we're almost winding down.
Okay.
So there are 3 things that we want to put out just to keep in your head. Okay, so 3 things. If I miss the 3, you'll help me, okay?
Or if there are 5, I may add 2.
Okay, so there may be numerous things. So the first thing is that we're going I think it's going to be March 18th, but you can check out the website.
Yes.
Which is?
www.carbonshredders.org, and it is March 18th. I put it on my calendar.
So it's March 18th,
right?
And we'll be doing it at night. So if you have an interest in being in the flagship group of people to launch this program, you can.
I think going to the website is probably the.
So the next thing is that you can go to the website, and there will be on the website a place where you can actually fill in information, put your information in, and actually notify us you want to be a part of the maiden voyage. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that on town meeting day, please come engage us in dialogue. We really feel like this is the time. This is really the time that we need to all take this up and know that this is really a part of. I think how we as a community come together under the rubric of how do we reduce our carbon footprint. And the third thing, and this is the one I really want to encourage, I have a feeling we live in the valley, and so people are going to look at this and go, God, I've been doing this for years. I've been doing this stuff for years. And if you have, come out of the closets. Because what we'd like to do is actually film you, get you on camera. We want to get your stories, because what you've done has been enormous, will be of enormous value for people not only in the valley, but all through the U.S.
The 4th one that I would throw in there is if you look at this in terms of sustainability and how well our systems can work or will work, is if we figure out a way to incorporate this into our day-to-day business and we do it early, we're going to be way ahead of the game. Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for your time.